Thanks for coming on the Vantage Point Podcast. First of all, how are you?
Good, thank you. I'm very tired. I've just had a long shift in the cafe and it didn't go well. But I apologize if I don't make any sense for the next few minutes. But yeah, thank you so much for having me, man. It's good to see you.
Oh yeah, you too, man. Yeah, I really appreciate you coming on because, and we spoke about this recently, I think as well. I actually came on your podcast a while ago, and that was my first time being a guest on someone else's podcast. Um, yeah, how was that? How did that podcast do? Was that any good? Like, did that come out well?
It was it was really good, yeah. And now you're a seasoned professional. Now
Don't know
you're
about
more
that,
than used to, aren't
mate.
you?
But
You must
yeah,
have done so many by now.
how's CMTG going? Are you still maintaining that,
It's
or
good.
yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
How many
I've kind
episodes
of
are you on?
taken I can't remember. I stopped labeling them by episode number. I've just given up with that now. But I took a step back from it for a little bit over COVID because it was quite difficult to organize them. And my internet connection's pretty rubbish at my house. But recently I've been trying to very slowly get back into it again. I've got one booked for a couple of weeks from now with
Oh
you
yeah.
might have heard of him, a YouTuber called The Aspie World, Daniel Jones. It's
Unfortunately
from
not.
Anglesey.
Oh yeah. Oh, I didn't
Yeah,
know there was
so
any other YouTubers on
Angles.
Anglesey.
I know it's crazy, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's mad. That's mad.
I'm a few and far between.
Yeah, tell me more about CMTG because I remember even back when I came on, I was quite interested in just like the concept of it. Just tell people what the format is because I think it's quite different to it's definitely different to any show I've seen. So yeah, just how would you sum it up?
Yes. To sum it up, it's a YouTube series where I combine mental health and gaming together. So the idea is that it kind of makes mental health a more relaxed topic to talk about because we're having this kind of conversation whilst playing a video game. So it immediately kind of sets a relaxed setting. And it turns out quite fun. I think it kind of merges those two parts of your brain together when you think, oh yeah, you can have fun and kind of be chill talking about this. And that's kind of where the idea stemmed from. And kind of having my own difficulty with mental health and trying to kind of bring that to other people as well. That was the next obvious step to kind of include more people in the conversation and yeah, just try and reduce stigma.
So was starting that project, did that come from you experiencing like a mental health or going through like a part of your life that made you think, oh, I want to sort of share this with other people and talk about it?
Yeah, definitely. I think it I always thought it was very empowering seeing people talk about their struggles on YouTube. I really kind of gained from that when I was kind of facing my own battles with depression and things like that. So I wanted to be able to do that for other people too, and especially in the local area because there's not many people I would in North Wales, in my experience, who kind of want to be creative in that sense and want to be the most open about mental health. So yeah, it was kind of like it gives you a sense of empowerment as well when you kind of take charge of your own struggles and try and put a positive spin on it. So that was kind of my motivation with it.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Because we're about the same age, aren't we? How old are you? 25, 26, 25?
25.
Yeah. Because like when we were in school and that, because I remember feeling a similar sort of way. Like when we were in school, it was kind of just before it was kind of the kind of popular thing to discuss mental health at all. Like I remember, being in school and thinking and not knowing it was like not even a topic that was discussed, like depression, anxiety, any of this stuff. It was just kind of like a word or like a feeling, not necessarily a disorder, but just like, oh, sometimes you might feel like that, and that's totally normal. And there was no indication at all in school, back then anyway, that it was even like an issue that could actually affect your life. Did you feel that way as well?
Yeah, for sure. I remember, I think it was in primary school. I can actually remember them introducing the concept of depression. He
Oh, really?
didn't
That
teach
early?
it very well. Well,
Right.
that's the thing that they talked about it very briefly, but I remember going away from that and thinking, how could somebody ever be depressed? It doesn't make any sense why somebody would want to like harm themselves or anything like that. And it just felt very weird and alienated. And I think I hope the education system's moved on since then quite a bit, and that people can kind of explain the reasons as to why it happens rather than just say it's a thing, get on with it kind of. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it was definitely neglected, definitely not talked about amongst friends or anything for me for a long time. So yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah, 100%. Like even at home, like my parents are of the generation where, you know, I would never have gone to say my dad saying something like, "Oh, I've got depression" or "I feel depressed," because it would have just been like, "Oh, come on, get over it, get on with it. Come on, that's for, that's just going to hold you back. That's a weakness. Get on with it kind of mentality,
Mm,
not in like a bad way, not in a way to sort of put me down." And like, to be fair, I never actually had that conversation. So I don't know that he would have said that. I just sort of
mm,
that's how you expect someone of that generation would
yeah.
react. And it would have been in a sort of constructive way, but also not getting the point of sometimes when people, especially growing up, like in your teenage years, like there are going to be points where you actually do have some sort of clinical mental health issue that you just have no way of even knowing or understanding at that age.
Mm, for sure. I should have come armed with some stats. I'm sure they're pretty high for like how many people will experience kind of mental health troubles in their life. I think depression's one of the most common ones. How many people will feel lonely, that kind of thing. It all ties together. And yeah, it's I can imagine having the same kind of feelings as you with having conversations with parents about that kind of thing. For me, it did happen a few times, and it didn't really go anywhere the way I wanted. So I think, yeah, it's that kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, true. I guess people as well, like unless you're talking to someone who's like a professional in that field, people
Mm,
also don't know how to react, especially like your parents. They obviously want what's best for you, but they're not trained to deal with that. Like they'll try and say the right thing,
exactly.
but they don't know what to say, so they might not
Yeah,
actually be the best people to talk to all the time. What did
definitely.
you
And can you
just?
imagine?
Sorry, go on.
Sorry,
Yeah,
can you imagine what it would have been like for them growing up and having, our grandparents kind of teach them that kind of thing? It's a different story altogether again, isn't it? So it's progress over time, hopefully.
yeah. I bet for them it would have been something like, "Oh, you think you've got it bad? We were in World War II."
Yeah, they had a good point as well, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so I mean, how are you these days, mate? I mean, did you find a solution to your issues? Do you feel like CMTG has helped, or did you find another solution?
It's definitely helped. I think there's kind of lots of stuff been going on lately in my life that kind of like all gels together and still leaves me feeling depressed in a lot of ways.
Okay.
I find it tough like over winter, especially. So at the moment it's very like intense, the shorter days and things, the cold weather, it all kind of adds together. Um, so I haven't really found a solution, but I'm kind of equipping myself to get there, I think is the best way of describing it.
Yeah,
Um,
solution was the wrong word. Sorry, I meant more sort of a way of dealing with it, I guess.
yeah,
Yeah.
a way of kind of like I don't know if coping's the right word either, but kind of, empowering yourself to kind of get over things. So yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag at the moment. I think um yeah, I don't know how much to go into, but
Entirely up to you, mate. Entirely up to you. You don't have to tell me everything, you know. Obviously it's a very personal thing. If you like, we can move it along. I was going to ask you about tape because that was something the last time I spoke to you, you were very much involved in. I've seen you guys working on some pretty cool looking projects. Are you still part of tape? And if so, what's going on there now?
I'm very much a part of tape. Yes, it's really fun at the moment. I was actually there every single day in the week doing random stuff. Um, so yeah, for those of you who don't know, Tape is a community arts center in Old Colwyn. It focuses on my area of expertise is kind of video editing and filmmaking, that kind of thing. So I work there as a freelance filmmaker, but they've also got regions of the center which kind of involved in animation and music and sound design, things like that. So it's a really cool creative network. And at the moment, the things I've been working on there, we've got a film festival coming up at the end of January, which is really exciting. It's called Coastline. Tickets are completely free. It's a nice chance to plug. So if you're in the area of North Wales and fancy watching a few films, it's pretty cool actually because we've got two separate festivals technically running at the same time. Because Tape itself, it's in the back of an old church. So we've borrowed the church itself to host a horror festival. So there's 3 days of horror films going on in the church, and there's going to be like really cool
That's
setting and
gotta
things.
be some sort of insensitivity or something. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit, but it's
Some sort
spooky.
of irony.
That's what matters. Yeah, yeah. And yeah, we've got the regular film program going on in the tape main hall, the cinema space there, which is really cool. And yeah, that's kind of been we've been doing lots of kind of prep on social media, so feel free to go and check it out.
Yeah, mate. I mean, ping me some links over, and I don't know exactly what day this will go out, but yeah,
That's
guys,
true, actually.
if there's still anything going on,
If
it will be in the description of this. Okay.
it might have been in the past. We'll have one next time, though, probably.
maybe. Yeah, I can't confirm nor deny whether this will go out in time.
Also,
Um,
you probably won't be able to edit around that now, because I've made so many references to January. I apologize.
Oh, mate, we're unfiltered. We're unfiltered here. To be honest, I can probably say I can probably fairly safely say that this won't go out in January because I'm trying to sort of bulk record like a few episodes now to sort of get ahead before I
Yeah,
really start
I
with the
remember you saying
podcast.
that.
Yeah, yeah. I just want to sort
That's
of
really cool.
yeah, I just want
Give it a
to sort of
structure.
take the stress off my shoulders, get it started strong so I don't go 3 weeks in and then I'm struggling to get guests and
Yeah, yeah,
I want to make sure it's some consistent at least to start with.
yeah. That's a really good
Um,
idea, man. I think as well, what might be a good thing to plug with tape is that anybody can come in and get involved. So we've got a start form on our website, so you can fill that out if you have a certain area of interest, and you can kind of say what you're into. If we've got any projects going on, then we'll be able to tell you about them. Or if you want to start your own projects, like I did with my mental health series, then they can support you with that too.
Yeah, awesome, man. Yeah, I've been there as well. So yeah, I've seen all the kit. You guys have got some really
Yeah.
cool kit. I mean, it puts my podcasting setup to shame. I'm not gonna lie.
No,
Like I
it's
know
everyone's a
I've got
shame.
a photo on my phone of me with like your camera by my head, and it's literally like the same size as my head.
But it's
Yeah,
got the Glen
quite
seal
impressive.
seal of approval. That's the best
It
thing.
certainly does. It certainly does. Yeah, I've got a little Logitech 1080p webcam. You'd probably destroy my setup if you came in.
I doubt it, mate.
Yeah, tell me more about working on a horror movie. What's that like?
It's fun up until the point you get murdered. That's
Oh,
the long and
right.
short of it. Yeah,
Okay.
I got murdered. Yeah, that's a spoiler. You can
Wait,
cut
what
that
do you
out
mean
if you
you
want.
got? Wait, you were acting in it as well. I thought you were just
Yeah,
filming.
yeah.
So did you film
I
and act, or were you just an actor in it?
Both.
Oh, wow.
I was
Okay.
doing, yeah, I
So
think that's
was
the
everyone
way.
doing both then? Was everyone filming and acting?
For the most, everybody's doing everything is the kind of atmosphere
Oh,
you get at
right.
tape. So whatever part of it you want to be involved in, whether it's being on camera, whether it's like listening to sound, whether you'd rather be involved in the script writing, acting, or post-production with editing, you can kind of drop in, do your own thing, and contribute in your own way, which is the really, really cool thing about it. And you don't need experience either. That's another thing. But it was really good. It really was one of those kind of milestone moments for me because acting is scary, and I'm glad that I did that and kind of felt comfortable doing it and enjoyed it. The project itself, Approaching Shadows, is the film. You can feel free to stream that online. I actually was finishing a behind the scenes documentary as of I think it came out on Halloween. So it's still been ongoing for that
Good
long,
timing.
Yeah, it was perfect timing. And yeah, that was a really fun one to make because it really shows how the tape process works and how everybody's kind of taken so much from it. So yeah, it's been quite a big part of my life for the last few years, and it's been pretty wonderful.
Yeah, I bet you've picked up a lot of skills working there.
Yeah, yeah. It's I think confidence is definitely the main thing.
Mm.
Both kind of in a technical sense and in a personal sense. And yeah, just kind of it was the first project where I really got to know everybody and understand how tape works. So it's really made such a big difference to my life in that sense. And yeah, I think going forward, with the different film projects I've worked on since, I've definitely taken a lot from it. And I've been working on my own short film as well, which was quite heavily inspired by it. So yeah.
So is the short film you're working on now, is that a horror film or is that something else?
It's kind of psychological horror. It's been
Cool,
finished.
cool.
I've applied for festivals and it might quite possibly end up on YouTube very soon. I don't know how soon. It depends which festivals it gets into. But it's yeah, it got started making like 3 years ago, and it's because
Oh,
COVID got
wow.
right in the way of it. But
I bet, yeah.
yeah, It's quite an interesting one. There's some scenes in it where I literally aged 3 years because I've reshot parts of it and I'm acting in it again. So if you notice a cut where I suddenly age by 3 years, then that's why. But it's also you don't notice it too much.
Yeah, I was going to just randomly cut in clips from you from the last podcast we did. Like when I
Oh
don't like
well.
something you say, I was just going to clip in you from another timeline and just paste
I'm
over
just
it.
thinking. I remember that shot of me was under the stage at tape where you got me to like wave, and then another
Oh
one where you got me
yeah,
to turn. Yeah,
yeah, that was good. That was good.
memories.
Oh yeah, because I filmed like a bit of a vlog there. That was when I was trying to be a
Yeah,
vlogger. Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
you weren't trying to be. You were a vlogger.
Oh yeah, yeah. Just not a very successful one, you know.
No,
Um,
but it's tricky,
but
man.
yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's very fun though. I do enjoy filming stuff as well. You know, I think I'm like you. Like I like looking for angles and trying to
Mm,
like create with film. You know,
yeah,
even if it's just like a silly YouTube video, I do like that kind of stuff. That like hence with like
definitely.
travel vlogs and stuff. I've
I
even
think I
tried my hand at doing a bit of horror stuff. You know,
Oh, I've seen some of them. I
have
think.
you? What do you think?
Yeah, I think. Oh, which film was it again? I'm rubbish. I'm as a filmmaker.
I
I'm
did
rubbish
one
at
that was
thinking.
like Friday the 13th and one that was Halloween,
Mm.
like Mike Myers.
All I remember is that they were quite scary.
Oh yeah, really? It's just me.
They're quite intimidating. I know. I just remember the mask, and a lot of darkness, and
Yeah,
yeah, um, creepy voiceovers if I remember as well.
probably. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Probably,
Got to
yeah,
have one of
yeah.
them.
The thing,
So
the thing I love about like filmmaking is that you can kind of show a message without having to say anything. I don't know if you find the same thing,
tell a
but
story through like through
mm,
visuals. Yeah, I get
yeah,
that.
because it's instead of being so on the nose about it, you can get people thinking. That's kind of my favorite thing. I did that with my short film too, because it ended up being not quite a silent film because there's background noise and music and things, but nobody talks in it, and I think it still conveys a message. So that's yeah, I love that.
Yeah, that's good. That's awesome. Yeah, I think you can definitely tell a story without spelling out what the story is.
Mm.
You know, um, for sure. Like, so are your aspirations to become like a full-time filmmaker? Is that the goal, to be a director yourself?
I think so. I'm not really sure, because I'm really kind of taking things day by day and enjoying what I'm doing with tape. And I'm very put off by some of the stories I've heard from like the bigger film industry on the big blockbuster sets and things.
Oh, like the sort of
Um,
politics of behind the scenes on movies and stuff.
yeah, it's more to do with the mental health sense.
Okay, right.
So it kind of links back in again to what we were talking about earlier, but
Oh,
there's a
everything does. Everything does.
yeah, it all does. There's a really big kind of crunch culture and just kind of people working ridiculously long hours. And I think it comes with the more creative fields that people feel a need to work longer hours to prove that they're good enough because it's a really fun job, and people just burn themselves out from doing that. And so I'm kind of put off by that side of it. Um, yeah, I kind of enjoy like the balance I have in life at the moment. I'm working part time in a cafe as well, so I get kind of a bit of everything. So yeah, it's fun, and I'm just kind of like taking things bit by bit. I don't know what my dream job would be. I suppose like directing a big film. If somebody gave me like a few million, few billion even, then I'd be
Yeah,
I'd be
that'd be
happy to,
nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd just
I
be
would
happy
I
if
would
someone
take
gave
it,
me a few billion.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
wouldn't use it on making a film. I'd just keep it.
yeah. Well, you could do, yeah, why not? So if
Uh,
anybody's
y-
got a spare billion, feel free.
yeah, send it our way. Yeah, you find that with a lot of creative fields, don't you? Where
Mm,
artists start out with all the integrity and sort of creative intent in the world, but then when it becomes their job, you see the burnout and you see how much they get stressed out and let it affect them, like the
yeah,
reception to their work, and they're not able to be as just creatively free as they were when they started out, and you end up seeing them sort of sour. Um,
yeah,
yeah, like a lot of
definitely.
like top directors, top music artists, YouTubers. You certainly see it with YouTubers just because that's
Mm,
all on them.
mm. Do you
Um,
reckon it's to do with living up to expectations? I guess it might be like within themselves, but also for what's doing well on YouTube or what kind of films are successful at the moment.
yeah, I think so. Like I remember again when I used to really sort of go in making just YouTube videos. I made a YouTube video once about KSI and Jake Paul, and it gets
Mm,
loads of views. And I was like,
yeah,
now do I capitalize on that and just make videos about what's trending, or do I continue to make what I think is like a creatively good video? And I chose
Yeah.
the second option, and I didn't get as many views, obviously, but
Mm.
that's when I sort of question, like, am I doing this because I creatively enjoy it, or am I
Yeah.
doing this because I want to make it just a job and get stressed out about it like I would a 9 to 5? It's like, well, I don't want that.
Yeah, exactly. I think you got to do whatever's right for you, and enjoying the kind of art you make. YouTube videos being a form of art in a way is really important. And I think as well, there is sometimes a balance where you can still be enjoying what you do, but also try and cater it towards something that might be successful. And I think that's maybe the trick with it. But yeah, it's you got to follow your heart with that kind of thing. I think is the most important thing.
Yeah, you'd like to think that eventually, if you stick at something and what you're doing is good, then eventually it will just land with the right audience. And absolutely,
Mm.
what you're saying there, yeah, YouTube videos are a form of art, and it pisses me off when people say it's just like, I don't know. I think we get a lot like associated a lot with the sort of American vlogger kind of style of videos. Whereas
Mm.
there are real creative, like genius creative people on YouTube who are like real good, talented filmmakers who, as you were saying earlier, tell a story through the videos they're making, and have a real talent for that, you know. And
Yeah.
I feel like they're looked down on a bit because they're YouTubers, not taken seriously, maybe.
Mm. I kind of I don't know if you find this, but when I tell people I have a YouTube channel, I almost feel embarrassed by it because of that kind of thing. Because
Yeah,
so
yeah,
many people are into it, and so many people see it as, you're just making a quick video, gaming, you're messing about and that kind of thing. But if you look at it from like an art form perspective, it can be so much more than that. And yeah, it's kind of a shame that it's almost got its own stigma attached to it in a way. Yeah.
yeah. Like some people, yeah, you tell them you got a YouTube channel, and they just think you're trying to be a Jake Paul or
Mm.
something like this. It's like, no, I'm making a short film. Come on, you
Yeah.
know, like what
I
was it? A
suppose
psychological thriller you're making, yeah?
it's like, yeah, well, I don't know if that's the right word. Horror, I think.
Horror. Sorry, my apologies. Um.
It's not that thrilling. It's quite depressing.
Oh God.
That's not advertising it very well.
Hey, that's good though. Some of the
Yeah.
some of the best movies are the most depressing and sad ones. Look at
Yeah,
Titanic.
true. Yeah, that's very, very true. I don't think it's quite Titanic either, to be honest. There's no drowning involved in my
Yeah,
short
I'd
film.
imagine your budget's slightly smaller than Titanic's
A
budget.
little bit. Yeah, I did have to make some cuts here and there.
Yeah.
We lost a lot of the funding pot. The few billions went away. Yeah, but yeah.
You could always go and sink a Stena ship or something and get some quick footage.
That sounds like a lawsuit waiting to happen. But
Maybe,
yes.
yeah. Yeah, sorry, I've just incriminated you now, haven't I? My bad.
Well, there goes that idea down.
Damn it.
No,
Yeah,
yeah.
100% we're gonna do it otherwise.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah. Would you do any other genres? Would you branch
I'd
out
love to,
to,
yeah.
a comedy or something? I think you've got a bit of a comedic flair. I've seen some of your older YouTube videos
Thank
with
you.
the
Thank
glasses.
you. I think, yeah, I don't know if comedic flair is the right phrase for that, but no, I appreciate that. I think I'd like to go into, I definitely, if I make a short film again, I'd like to do something that involves dialogue for sure. Something that's kind of got a deeper meaning to it, and kind of explore like the relationships between characters, which I always find really fascinating in like movies and video games and things. So I'd like to do something. It's just finding the right team of people around you and kind of working towards that together. Finding people with the same like shared passion and common goal is the tricky thing. But yeah, I'm kind of looking forward. I think you have to experiment sometimes as well to find out what you like, don't you? So it's always good to try different things and keep yourself on your toes, so to speak.
Yeah. Um, say I was a new filmmaker,
Hmm.
having gained quite a lot of experience now. What would be your advice to someone who's just starting out in making their own, say, short film?
I would say film it. Just film it is the most important thing and get it done. It doesn't always matter um how perfect it is. I think it's important to just make things, get them finished, and always be proud of what you've done, because you're always going to look back at whatever you make, even if you think it's perfect right now and you spend 3 years on it like I did, you're still going to look back on it sometimes within a month and say, I could have done better. And, you'll look back on it in 10 years and hopefully by the time you'll have progressed so much by then, you'll think, wow, that's terrible. But, it's still really good in a way. It's still part of your journey. And I think it's just important to try things and put yourself out there in a creative sense. It's usually the hardest step, just to kind of make something and get it done and share it with people and be passionate about it. Because, quite often when you're making a film, it's something from the heart and you're kind of revealing that side of yourself to people, and it's quite a scary step, but it's important to get to where you want to go.
Yeah, I guess film makes it as well, so you can express yourself in a way and not have it tied directly to you. You can say it's an artistic interpretation of something. I guess the same way you could say it about a painting or like writing a story, it's not necessarily you, but you can inject your actual feelings into the project and sort of express yourself that way. And I guess on that note, would you say creating things, using your creative brain in general, to come up with stuff like that is a good thing for, just mental health in general, your overall mental health?
Definitely, yeah. It kind of helps you to explore different sides of yourself. I think it helps you explore different perspectives. And I think just being creative in general gives you an outlet. Because if you're kind of experiencing mental health troubles and you've got all these emotions kind of worked up inside of you, even if you're painting, if you're doing anything like that, it can be really a good way to kind of just let it all out, and therapeutic in a way, I suppose, isn't it? It's pumping your entire heart into something, if that's the way you want to do it, and let those feelings be heard and seen by the people who will recognize them, and that kind of gives you a sense of support almost.
Yeah, well said.
Thank you.
What's your favorite movie? Have you got a favorite? It's a tough question.
Drop that question on me. Oh God.
Yeah, of course, man.
Have you watched Donnie Darko before?
No. Do I need to?
I think you should. I think that might be my favorite movie. I love The Matrix as well, the first one in particular.
I've seen that. That's very good. That is very good.
Yeah. Donnie Darko is a film. It's kind of explores schizophrenia, so it's mental health related again. Right. And it's just really interesting seeing. It's like a sci-fi-ish story. It's got bits of horror in it, and it's just interesting exploring from someone who's schizophrenic their perspective. And yeah, it's just really interesting.
That sounds good. Yeah, I think the Matrix, it's it's seen by a lot of people as just an action film or like a sci-fi action or whatever. But I think there is a lot of a psychological undertone to the Matrix that gives it like a lot more weight. The red pill, blue pill bit at the start. There's a bit of a meme now, but like for its time and for the message it's going with there, I think it's more relevant now than ever that we're just so dialed in and focusing on our careers, on our jobs, on the mundane everyday, getting stressed about our 9 to 5s and not seeing things from this other perspective, not saying it's all a simulation or anything. That's not where I was going at all with this, but just taking the chance to look at things from another perspective, and that everything you find so important and so integral to your life right now, you could let go of and totally reinvent your life and become, Neo.
Yeah. It gives you the bigger picture almost, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it kind
absolutely.
of reframes that and makes you kind of question what's important and what's not, which can be a very powerful thing. And what's weird is that with The Matrix, before I watched it, I always thought, because so many people talked about it a lot, that it was a film from like the 70s or something, because it was so well done for its time. People have kind of given it this legacy already, but still it looks incredible for its time, doesn't it? Like all the CGI and stuff. It's amazing.
Yeah. The first bullet time scene, that blew my mind. I'm not gonna lie. When he leans back and all the bullets just slow-mo go past his head, that was very cool.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, that tickled my cool, happy part of my brain.
Have you watched the second and third ones?
Yeah. I enjoyed those as well. Are you a fan?
Yeah, definitely. I can't remember which one it was, but the ones where Agent Smith gets duplicated repeatedly over and over and over again.
Yeah, the second one. Yeah. Yeah, good stuff.
I feel sorry for whichever computer had to render that out. My goodness.
Yeah,
It's
back then as
incredible.
well. Yeah,
Yeah,
that must have been a big old PC. Yeah, a film I watched recently as well, Fight Club. A lot of people have seen that. Have you seen it?
I've seen it. Yeah, I love
Yeah,
that
a
one
lot of
too.
people saw it like a while ago. One scene that stood out to me in particular with that, again, that spoke out to me in a similar way, I guess, is when they're both sitting in the car. Brad Pitt's character and Norton's character, and they're driving down the highway, and Brad Pitt's character says, "Why don't you just let go of the wheel?" And he's like, "I'm not going to let go. I'm gonna crash if I let go."
Mm,
And through letting go, yeah, they crash, but afterwards, because he survives it, yeah, he might have died, but because he let go and let the car careen off the road, and then stepped out and survived, that gave him so much confidence because he learned to let go of the things that sort of bound him, the things that you know that you're not
yeah.
supposed to let go of. And then once you let go of that, it's like now I have the confidence to do anything. I
Mm,
think people can take that lesson not to crash their cars on the
yeah.
A55, but
Let's make a disclaimer.
to
Don't
let
do
go of the
that.
small things, let go of the small things
Yeah,
people hang on to, And it's a similar kind of
definitely.
message in a way, I think.
Do you know what I take from that as well is that sometimes when bad things happen, you can take so much good from them. I think as much as that was a self-inflicted bad thing, it's sometimes good to look at the challenges and hurdles you face in your life as something, it's a chance to start again afterwards when you manage to get over it and when you manage to kind of start that recovery process, you'll be a much stronger person.
Yeah, good stuff, man. Well, that's all we've got for today. We're going to have to wrap it up there. I want to keep these episodes short and sweet. Um, but yeah, thanks a lot for coming on, man.
Thank
Yeah,
you for having me,
catch up with you
Glenn.
soon.